Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the little bracket out first to show you the basic principles. So I'm just going to pop it there. Now I just want to point out a few things before I start the saw, because you may not be able to see when the saw's going. You may not be able to see the detail because of the light shining on it. But you'll notice that I've nailed the two pieces together. It's fairly thick, it's about ½ inch thick. This is the little shelf support, and you'll notice that there are 3 nails holding it together, and there are 5 holes in there for the various pieces I've got to cut out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the cutouts first before I cut the main outline out, because if I cut the outline out first, the thing will fall apart anyway, because the nails are on the outside for obvious reasons, and also it's easier to handle in that size. Right then, so we're ready to have a go at cutting. So the first thing to do is get the blade through the hole in the workpiece here. So release the blade tension, undo the blade clamp, pop the blade through the hole, like so. Put the blade back into the clamp, tighten the tension up. You can always tell by the correct tension by the ping of the blade. That sounds okay to me. Now, I'll try and concentrate and I won't rub it so much. Into the corner, back, into the hole, back the blade back up where it came from, sharp corner, nicely goes around there, you see. Go back in there, and do the same in this one. One thing you have to watch when you're doing cutting, the little pieces that fall out, be careful, sometimes they fall down through the hole and stop the wood from moving, they lock it into place and then you find it awkward, so be careful of that. It's always best to clean these bits out of the way if you can do. The little tiny bits, see, they go down in there. The smaller the hole you have there, the better really. That's all the inside part cut out. Now I'm just going to cut around the outside and then I'll show you the finished item. See, that's what the blade should sound like. A nice sharp ping, that means the blade's about the right tension. If it's dull, like say like this, that's not too bad, but that's no good at all. That's not just right. Now I'm just going to cut the outside. Again, be careful of the nails that are holding it together. We'll go a bit faster on this. Not too bad so far. Right, let's go over there. When you get to this stage and the thing will start coming apart, there's only one nail holding it. What you can do is just get a bit of sellotape. I always keep a small roll of sellotape nearby, and just get your sellotape and wrap it. The sellotape machine's fell apart now. Would you believe it? Anything could go wrong, it will go wrong. I'll do that bit again. Get your sellotape, I hope I don't write this down. Get a bit of sellotape and just wrap it around the pattern like that, as much as you like, just to hold it together. Like that. It just holds it together when, you know, when you've taken most of the nails out. Sometimes you can hold the whole thing together with sellotape, it doesn't matter. God, my hands are freezing cold, I can't work, my hands are so cold. Right, I'll just cut this last bit off and we'll see what it looks like. There we go. Right, that's it. Now that should fall apart now. There we go, 2 little brackets. Now I'll show you the other side. That side's obviously got the pattern on, but I mean I can get, that'll come off easily, I'll get that off easily. Now there's the other bits to cut out, which are going to take me some time. I will show you a little bit of cutting the main bracket, but I won't show the whole thing because you'll get bored, it'll go on for a long while. So I'll just make a quick start on it. When one of the difficult things to cut on a fret saw is long straight lines actually, because what you've got to remember is the blade doesn't necessarily cut in a straight line. If you're trying to cut a line through, don't automatically assume the blade will be true. It's the way the blade is actually made. The fret saw blades generally, they're stamped out on a machine and they do have what they call a bias on the blade. So sometimes when you're cutting a straight line like that, you don't hold the wood in a straight position. You might have to have it round on an angle slightly like that to get it to cut in a straight line. If you keep the timber straight as you think it should be, it'll weave off the line and go all over the place. So beware of the blade bias, because it will make the saw deviate from the line, so you've got to take that into account. So sometimes you might be on this angle when you feel you should be that way. It's just a little thing to point out. My fingers are getting so cold I can't feel what I'm doing. I'm just going to do one little cut. What I'm going to do with this one, I shall cut all the internal holes out first and then cut the outside out last. Now, funny enough, on the original pattern, you see these, I don't know whether you can see this, whether the camera shows it or not, but I'm trying to show it. This is the rocks on the top. I've got it upside down, obviously, so you can see it in the camera. But there's some rocks here. On the original pattern, there was actually 2 blokes with guns stood on there, hunters, and I didn't like that. I don't like that sort of thing. So I cut them off. So I thought, well, I don't want them on there shooting at the poor creature. So I left it. Well, I thought it was a deer, but I reckon it's a mountain goat, actually. But anyway, that's not why you're here. You don't need to worry too much. If you go off the line slightly, if you're doing a thing like a goat or a mountain or a flower, it's not so bad. You won't even notice it. Try and do it as accurate as you can, obviously, and keep the design. But if you start to go off the line a bit, don't panic. Don't try going backwards and forwards and trying to do it. Just try and amalgamate it into the pattern, so to speak. So change the shape of the flower or something. I've done most of the internal cuts now. I've just left a few pieces because there's a couple of things I want to explain. Now, looking at the design here, you'll see most of it's cut out. I've left a few bits. One thing I should point out is when you're cutting a piece like this leaf, it's not so important with this particular one, but some might be more fragile. Always cut from the end in like that way and in like that way, rather than starting here and cutting out towards the end, because if it's a delicate, fragile part and you cut outwards, there's more of a tendency for it to snap off there, so always cut in that way. Now, regards to fret saw blades, I've cut all of this so far using the same blade. Now, if you're new to scroll saw work, don't be too concerned if you break blades, because everybody breaks blades, and when you're starting out, you'll break lots and lots of blades, but they're fairly cheap to buy, so it's not a big deal. And gradually, as you get more used to it, you'll find that the blades will need changing, not because you break them, but because they wear out. And as is the case with this. Now, I've done quite a few cuts with this, and underneath I've got a piece of hardwood, and that will put a toll on the blade. So the blade is starting to get a bit blunt. It'll be okay for finishing this, but blades don't last forever. Even if you don't snap them off, they do get dull after a time, and they will need replacing, and you will notice a difference because some of the bite will have gone from the teeth when you examine the blade. So don't expect blades to last forever. I'm just going to finish off cutting this little bit. As I said, I'm going to cut from the end inwards. I think I need to put my reading glasses on to see this. You'll go back and then back to the start, and then I shall start and do the other end in that way. I've done a lot of it. I've got to cut out, where is it? I lost it now. There's a piece there to cut out, a piece there and a piece there, and then basically it's the outside. The light's a bit awkward as well. Now I've got to do what they call a veining cut now, which is where the blade goes into the wood, like this. This is a veining cut to leave a very thin vein where the leg is, and then I've got to go back on that, you see, and then down this other line, so I'm going to go around there like that. Well, that's that. The way I'm showing you doing it is just the way I do it. I mean, other people probably have a totally different way, and their method might be better than mine. It's just the way I've done it. When you break a blade, it'll go off an almighty bang and a crash, and the arm will bang up, and you'll jump out your skin practically. Well, it's no good me saying you'll get used to it, because you won't, because forevermore, every time you break a blade, it'll make you jump. It always does. I've been doing it since I was about 10, and it always makes me jump, and I nearly fall off the seat if I'm sitting down, so don't be concerned if it makes you jump, because it will do. Anyway, let's have a go at cutting around the outside now. those reading glasses on again. See a bit better now. We don't want it to snap off at this stage. If you do snap one off, don't panic. Have a tube of super glue handy and just stick it back on again. Once it's sanded down, you won't notice. Not much more to do around there and that bit there, but I'll come back when I've done it. Well, there we are. Just finished the cutout. That's the cutout piece, and if I take the thing apart, you can see the mahogany one at the back. But what I'll have to do is get that paper off there now, because I shall make two brackets, a dark wood one and a light wood one. Anyway, that's about all for now. It's time to go and have my dinner, I think. But my hands are absolutely freezing, to be honest. It's very cold today, even though the sun's been shining. So I'll say bye for now, and hopefully I'll do a bit more tomorrow.